Hello, class 5 students. We have seen in this chapter the freedom struggle. First, the reasons for the growth of nationalism, formation of the Indian National Congress in December 1885, the two factions in that Congress, Indian National Congress, the moderates and the extremists, then the partition of Bengal, and the vehement protest of partition of Bengal was through Swadeshi and boycott movements. Then we have seen that the revolutionary leaders who used violent methods, the formation of Muslim League for the benefit of the Muslims, then leadership of Gandhiji, his satyagraha, that is which is based on the policy of truth and non-violence, and how he realized the need that it is very necessary to for the common masses. It was very necessary to arouse this feeling of patriotism among the common masses to gain freedom. And then we have the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where thousands of people, innocent people, who were just having a peaceful meeting, were slaughtered, were killed when General Dyer asked his men to open fire on them. Non-cooperation and civil disobedience movement. The Jallianwala Bagh tragedy angered the Indians, and Gandhiji launched the non-cooperation movement in 1920. Students boycotted schools, people boycotted foreign goods, and even washermen refused to wash clothes of British. So what were the forms of protest? There is the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. As I said, that it was one of the worst tragedies in human history. So this really angered the Indians, and they and Gandhiji said that he would not cooperate with anything any longer, and he launched the non-cooperation movement in 1920. What happened? They boycotted schools. All the Western means where Western education was given. Boycotted schools. People boycotted foreign goods, okay, and even washermen, they did not wash the clothes of the British. Gandhiji used the charkha, or the spinning wheel, to spin khadi and encouraged others to do so. Yes, that was Swadeshi. Okay, Swadeshi is one's own country. So he told people that you can spin the charkha, you can make that from the thread you can weave your own cloth, you can be self-dependent, or spinning wheel, to spin khadi, and encouraged others to do so. This inspired nationalism and also provided jobs to thousands of weavers. Not only it awakened the nationalism, but it also helped boost the economy, that is, it provided jobs to the weavers. In 1929, the Congress demanded Purna Swaraj, that is complete freedom, from the British. They launched the civil disobedience movement under the leadership of Gandhiji. So in 1929, Congress brought that Purna Swaraj, demand of Purna Swaraj, or the complete freedom, and the civil disobedience movement was launched in 1930. On 12 March 1930, Gandhiji and his followers marched from Sabarmati to Dandi. In Dandi, Gandhiji broke the salt law and made salt from seawater. Yes, it's a famous Dandi march, as we call it, from Sabarmati to Dandi. He went and there were several laws about the salt, and Gandhiji showed how to make salt from seawater. There was widespread agitation. Even women and children came out of their homes to join the movement. So he was successful in instilling this feeling of patriotism. The British used violent methods to suppress the movement, and thousands were arrested and thrown into jail. Naturally, the British to quieten the people, to stop the people, they just used all kinds of cruel methods, and they arrested all the people. Quit India movement. The Second World War broke out, and the Indians feared an attack from Japan. So the Second World War broke out in 1939. In 1942, the Quit India resolution was passed, demanding the British to leave India immediately. Quit India means leave India. Quit India. That is, British should quit India. That is, leave India. And this movement was launched in 1942. The Quit India movement was a mass revolt which took place in different parts of the country. There were processions and demonstrations against the British all over the country. The British realized that their rule in India had come to an end. Yes, with the Quit India movement, the British realized that their rule was only for a few days and they could not continue for long. Indian National Army. Subhash Chandra Bose, or Netaji, also contributed to the freedom struggle movement. He believed in violent methods to overthrow the British. In 1943, he took charge of the Indian National Army, which was also called the Azad Hind Fauj. Yes, the Indian National Army grew up. It was actually not formed in India, Subhash Chandra Bose was one of the revolutionary leaders who thought, it was necessary to use violence to overthrow the British. And he formed the Indian National Army, or which was also called the Azad Hind Fauj. Finally, we attain independence in 1947. In 1947, the British government decided to give India her independence. Lord Mountbatten, the new Viceroy of India, prepared a plan for the transfer of power. The question now arose as to who would form the government. Mountbatten held discussions with the leaders of all parties and communities for the future course of action. The partition of India and the creation of Pakistan became inevitable. So, when finally the British decided to leave India, then the question came that who would become, the power at the head of the government. And then there was no other option but to create another country called Pakistan. The partition of India and creation of Pakistan became inevitable. On 3rd June 1947, Mountbatten announced his plan for the division of British India into India and Pakistan. Jinnah became the first Governor General of Pakistan, and Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister of India. Yes, there Jinnah became the Governor General of Pakistan, and as we know, Chacha Nehru, fondly called, he became the first Prime Minister of independent India. The partition of India was marked by communal riots and a lot of bloodshed. Yes, there have been several movies about this partition of India. But at last, at the stroke of midnight on 15th August 1947, India became independent from the unjust British rule. So finally, we gained independence. So with this, we come to the end of the chapter. Hope you have understood it. Thank you, students.